Hello, my name is William Towle. I'm in Mr. Rules 4A Advanced Functions class. Today we're going to be working with a question that has to deal with AROC and IROC, which is instantaneous rate of change and actual rate of change. It's on page 113 in the textbook, and it's question 12, as you can see right here. So, the question states, the weekly revenue for battery sales at discount H hardware store can be modeled by the function R at x is equal to negative x squared plus 10x plus 30,000, where revenue R and the cost of a package of batteries X are in dollars. The maximum revenue occurs when a package of batteries costs $5. Write detailed instructions using the appropriate calculations for the rate of change in revenue. To verify that the maximum revenue occurs when a package of batteries costs $5, exchange instructions with a partner. Follow your partner's instructions to verify when the maximum revenue occurs. So now we're going to go over the weekly revenue for battery sales at discount H hardware store can be modeled by the function. We're going to highlight that because that's a main point of the function, the main detail right there. Where revenue R and the cost of batteries X are in dollars, so we'll do X are in dollars. The maximum revenue occurs when a package of battery costs $5, so that's a main point too. Write detailed instructions, we'll highlight that, using the appropriate calculations for the rate of change in revenue to verify that the maximum revenue occurs when a package of battery costs $5. Will it cost $5? Exchange instruction with a partner. Follow your partner's instructions to verify the maximum revenue occurs. Okay, so what the question is basically trying to tell us is that we use this equation, negative x squared plus 10x plus 30,000, to find that when the batteries cost $5 a pack, that we are finding the max revenue. So really, it's kind of like an exponential function here. So what we're trying to solve is for AROC and IROC. So we're pretty much trying to find the line that goes like this, right through that, and also right through these. So once we find those lines, we're pretty much, the top of that graph should equal to 0 when it costs $5. That means we've reached the maximum revenue when it costs 0. Also, we should find one point to the left of this, which is going to be 1 point negative under it. So that answer should be a negative number, and one to the right of it should be a positive number. So to solve for this question, we're first going to want to find the AROC of $5. So we want to pick 1 point to the left and 1 point to the right. So to the left, we pick 4.99, 1 minus of 5. So when we have that, we're going to plug it into the equation. So negative, what would be x? 4.99 squared plus 10 times x, which is 4.99, plus 30,000. We will end up getting negative 24.9001 plus 49.9 plus 30,000. And that's going to equal to 24.9999 plus 30,000, which will equal to 30,024.9999. So now we have this. This is one answer for the AROC of 5. Then one point to the right of it would be 5.01. So we plug that into the equation, which is negative what would be x, which is now 5.01 squared, plus 10, which times by x would be 5.01, plus 30,000. Then we end up getting negative 25.1001 plus 50.1 plus 30,000. And that's going to equal to 24.9999 plus 30,000, which is going to equal to 30,024.99999. You might realize that this answer and this answer are the same answers. So now, what we will do is we're going to do the AROC formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we want to take the bigger number minus the smaller number. So in this case, it would be 5.01, and you minus that by what you got for 4.99. So we're going to take 30,024.9999 minus 30,024.9999 over 5.01 minus 4.99. So this will get 0 divided by 0.02. And anything, 0 divided by anything, is always going to get you 0. So that proves that the AROC of $5, so the max revenue of $5, is properly because we got 0 as the final answer. And now, we're going to take the 1 point to the right, which is going to be 5.01. This is to prove that when you take the AROC of $5 or the max revenue of $5 is 0. So to prove this, we're going to put 5.01 and pick 2 points, one to the right of 5.0, one to the left. one to the left is going to be 5.00, and one is going to be 5.02. For our answer, we should be able to get negative 0.02, because it's going to be 2 points less, 0.02 points less than 5, and it should be negative because it's to the left. So now we're going to plug this back into the equation. Negative x, which is 5.00, squared, plus 10x, which is 5.00, plus 30,000. That's going to equal out to negative 25 plus 50 plus 30,000, which is going to equal to 25 plus 30,000, which is going to equal to 30,025. Then we go 1 point to the right of it, which is going to be f of 5.02, which is going to equal to negative x, which is 5.02 squared, plus 10 of x, which is 5.02, plus 30,000, and that's going to equal to negative 25.2004, plus 50.2, plus 30,000. That's going to equal to 24.9996 plus 30,000, which will final out to 30,024.9996. Now, once we get that, we're going to try to use the AROC's formula to find the answer for the AROC of 5.01. So now we're going to use AROC formula, so it's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 like we used before for 5. So we're going to do 30,024.9996 minus 30,025 over 5.02 minus 5.00. We're going to get negative 0.0004 divided by 0.02, and that's going to equal to negative 0.02. And now that we have this answer, that proves for the left side that 5, which we're back to the beginning here, 5 is the proper max revenue because we get 0, and then we get a negative number to the left of it. Now to explain the final step, we have to go 1 to the right, so we're going to pick 4.99, so 1 less, 0.01 less. So now we're going to take to the left of 4.99, which is 4.98, and to the right, which is going to be 5. So on both, to check, we're going to use 5. So 1 was to the left of it, and for the first for 5.01, and 1 to the right now for 5.00. This is all, again, on the exponential function I showed you at the beginning of the video. So we're going to plug it back into the formula we always use at the beginning, which is negative x, 4.98, squared, plus 10 times by 4.98, which is, again, x, plus 30,000. That's going to be negative 24.8004 plus 4.49.8 plus 30,000. That's going to equal to 24.9996 plus 30,000, which is going to final out to 30,024.9996. Then we're going to do to the right of it, which is 5. So we're going to plug it into that formula we love to use, negative 5.00, which is x, to the squared, plus 10 times x, which is 5.00, plus 30,000, and that's going to equal to negative 25 plus 50 plus 30,000, and that's going to equal to 25 plus 30,000, which is going to final to 30,025. Then we plug that back into the AROC formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now it's going to be 30,025 minus 30,024.9996 over 5.00 minus 4.98, which is going to be 0.004 over 0.02, which is going to give us 0.02. This is positive, like I said at the beginning, which we need one positive number to the which is going to be to the right of it, and one's going to be left, which is going to be negative. So for the AROC of 5.01, we got a negative 0.02, and for 4.99, we got positive 0.02, and for 5, we just got 0. So now we're going to relate this to a real-world issue. So we're going to take McDonald's and use their chicken McNuggets. So now, let's say they're selling McNuggets, 5-piece chicken McNuggets for $10. So we use the same formula. So it's going to be negative x squared plus 10x plus 30,000. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve the same exponential function that we used before in a real-world event. So this real-world event will show that McDonald's, if they sell the chicken McNuggets for $10, will reach its peak value, which is right here. So once you solve this down and use the steps I explained before, you should be able to get, once you solve in for x, so it should be negative 10 squared plus 10 times by 10 plus 30,000. And you should be able to solve down and use AROC, pick 1 to the left, 1 to the right, so let's say 9.99 and 10.001. You should be able to get 0 once you solve for the AROC formula that we used before. But then, to check it, you should pick one number to the left, which can be 9.99, and then do the AROC of that. So you pick 10 and 9.98 to solve that. Then you pick one to the right of it, which is going to be 10.01. Pick 10 and 10.02, solve for those AROCs, and that will prove that Chicken McNugget sold at $10 is the max revenue that McDonald's will make by selling their Chicken McNuggets. So a brief overview of what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the average rate of change of $5 for the batteries. We've learned this in Unit 3, Lesson 7, which is rate of changes with rational functions. We learned that to try to find the max revenue, you have to use the AROC, and you have to pick one to the left of $5, which is 4.99, one to the right. We're doing this for a hardware store that's trying to sell their batteries for $5 if that's the max revenue. So once we solve this down, we use the formula negative x squared plus 10 to the x plus 30,000. We use this for 4.99 and 5.01. Once we get the answers for these two, which are the same, we use the AROC formula, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This adds up to 30,024.9999 minus 30,024 minus 99999. The exact same things over 5.01 minus 4.99. This is going to equal to 0 over 0.02, which is just 0. This is proved here by, as you can see, we're looking for the max value on this rational function, exponential function. It should be 0 because the top is on the axis right here, on the on the y-axis, and it should be 0. Then to check it, we have to use we're trying to find the AROC of 5.01, which is one to the left, which is right here. By using that, we picked 5.00 and 5.02 to find the AROC of 5.01. Then we use the same formula we used before, and we get down to negative 0.02, which is the exact correct answer we're looking for because we're looking for a negative number. Then, if we flip it over quickly, we can see that. Then we tried to find the AROC of 4.99, which is one to the right. Then we use the exact same formula, we solve down, and we use the AROC formula again, 30,025. We get 0.004 over 0.02, which is 0.02, which is perfect because it's a positive number, the exact same as when you did 5.01, just positive. So now we can explain it again, that Hardware H Store uses $5 to sell their batteries. They will get the maximum revenue, which is shown here as 0, and it's proven by when we picked one number to the left, which was $4.99, we got 0.02, one to the right. Then we picked one to the left, which was $5.01, we got negative 0.02, which is not exactly 0, which doesn't mean they will make their max revenue. So if they use $5 to sell a package of batteries, they will get exactly 0, which will mean they will reach their max revenue.